Today, I'm joined by former Dallas Mavericks assistant coach Mike Shedd to talk about pre-Luka trade days, this current Mavericks team, two bigs, and Nico Harrison. Coming up on today's Locked On Mavs.
Stop it! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
You are Locked On the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, covering the Mavs for the last 10 seasons alongside my good friend, Nick Angstead. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Today, I'm joined with one of my favorite people that I love talking basketball with. He is so smart when it comes to the game of basketball, probably other things too. But he was an assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks for, I think 16 years for a lot of the Rick Carlisle era, and then transitioned off staff in that 2020, I think it was 2020, when after Rick Carlisle, Donnie Nelson, and everyone transitioned off. So we had a great conversation today. I was thankful that he was able to hop on. For the first half of it, we talk a lot about this current Mavs team. Playing with two bigs in today's game. What do you have to have? What was it like game planning against Anthony Davis back when all those years, over a decade as an assistant coach? Differences between Carlisle and Jason Kidd and their coaching styles and stuff. So a lot of that stuff about today's Mavs. And then the second half is a little bit about, hey, was there any writing on the wall for the Luka trade? Anything you've seen? And then just the fallout from that and their turnover. And then we have some quick hitters at the end, like funniest player that he's coached and who has the best work ethic and who's he loved watching in today's game. So sit back, enjoy my conversation with the one and only Mike Shedd. I'm here with the one and only Mike Shedd. Shedd, man, I miss seeing you I want to say I miss seeing you in the AAC, but you might be in there more now watching Stars games with your family than what you were before.
We still make the trip down the AAC. We still putting miles on the tollway, so we get in there one way, shape, or form.
Well, I hyped you up in the open before we hopped on here because I just want to get into all basketball talk. But real quick, you're doing some work with Cerebro. It's an basketball analytic company. Can you share just a little bit about that?
It's basically a recruiting platform. They built a proprietary metric based off of box scores. So that's their thing. They go and scrape and mine box scores from youth sports, AAU events. They try to get high school events, which are tough for them. But the big thing for them is they're the ultimate tool for a front office or for a coaching staff in college, just to give yourself an extra eye on a player. You may get to see a player 5 times live, say, and then you watch Synergy that they had some games where there's 3 or 4. So you say you got 10 or 11 evaluations video-wise, but Synergy went and partners with the event operators, and they pull all the box scores. And through the box scores, they create this metric where they have a 5 skill metric score on their own. And it basically is like a Olympic gold medal. So you're a gold player, you're elite, silver is a starter, and then bronze is a contributor. You can go and you watched them 3 times. You're like, oh man, he was really good in 2, was okay in the other couple I watched. And then you go back, you're like, oh, Synergy's got 60 evaluations. And he was this on average throughout, and maybe that helps your bias on whether the kid's good enough to offer or to invite to a camp. Or so I think they're the Cerebro Group. Ryan Gerardo's the founder, and then he's got some NBA guys that are helping on the analytics stat end. John Cho was with the Rockets for a long time, and they do a incredible job. And I like I said, I help them out wherever I can. And I think they're a tool that any NBA front office should have in the tool belt. Like I said, they're not a by themselves thing. They're an addition and a added filter that can give a lot of depth to making decisions. So yeah, the Cerebro group is awesome, and they're starting their own player app, and they're already working with teams on their search platform. It's the Google of basketball.
Yeah, that's cool. So if we look at the Mavs, they've made this shift. Obviously, the trade. I want to talk about this like current version of the Mavs, and then I'll talk a little bit in the second half about the amount of change and everything within the Mavs and the trade and all of that. But the Mavs have somewhat committed to this too big system of Anthony Davis. You obviously make the trade for a guy like that. He obviously wants to play the 4. You give Gafford the extension. You have Derek Lively. What do you think about this commitment to playing the 2 bigs? Can it work in today's game? Is it kind of zagging when everyone else is going a different way? Or are you pretty like, oh, I think this can work?
It definitely can work. AD is a unique player in that you can say what you want. If you're the biggest player on the floor, you can call yourself the 4 or you can call yourself the 5. He just doesn't like being called a 5. If he's guarding the biggest player on the floor, he's basically a 5. So, I mean, it's kind of semantic sometimes, but if it helps his brain and whatever to be called a 4, now with Lively and Gafford on the 4, then he's the 4. So, but you can play 2 bigs because he can pass, he can handle, he can initiate, he can shoot threes. As long as you can stretch from a big's perspective, playing 2 bigs is going to draw that other defender out. So it's not – you have to have a rim presence. Derek Lively is incredible, and when he's healthy, he's got bouncy legs and springy, and and then Gafford is more of a typical big. You don't have to. You're never throwing them the ball on the post, or at least not often. You're getting actions into them in the paint for them to finish around the rim. AD's. You can throw it to him and let him ISO and do those things. So I guess it takes pressure off of your wings if you don't have great shooting from the 3 and you don't have awesome shooting from the 2. You've got incredible rim presence with Gafford and Lively. You've got a little bit of mix of everything from AD. So playing 2 bigs, and then hopefully you dominate rebounding. That's my whole thing is if you play 2 bigs, you better win. You better out-rebound everybody every night.
You mentioned
That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, you talked about Anthony Davis a little bit ago, being on an NBA coaching staff for as long as you were, over a decade, 13, 14 years?
16.
16 years, gosh. You had a game plan against an Anthony Davis. What do you remember about those days? What makes it challenging going against a guy like AD?
The big thing for him at the time, like I said, is you had to take away the rim. So he had to feel pressure, and he had no open rolls. If he's rolling, he's getting hit, and then you had to be in his space. He had to play the ball on the deck. That was always making him make decisions under some pressure. So he had to put it down. You didn't want to give him clean looks, and you didn't want clean rolls to the rim. So any roll, he's got to get checked. And on the perimeter catch, you got to be in his space. Even if you switched to small on him, that case you even had to be even more in his space. You just had to make it uncomfortable for him. Because if he gets to stand there and jab and create space and then shoot over you, which he can do over 90% of the league, it's probably a bad experience. But if you've got to be in his space, he's got to be uncomfortable on catches. And then you got to find him on rolls because of the lob presence. And then you got to run him on the other end. He's got to run the floor. You got to make him run the floor.
This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Guys, we need this. We're trying to plan a Disney trip right now for the family, and it's going to make me broke. So I might need Monarch Money. It's more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, also building wealth. So Gosh, I got to look exactly how to sign up for this because I legit need to sign up. Nick talks to me about this all the time. He loves using Monarch money. And I just know I sit back and I look at it and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to save up for something. And then you kind of like hit that savings account for something. And then you never go back to it. And it's like, all right, we got to keep on going. So this is where Monarch Money could help you take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
We obviously talked about the big, their commitment to the bigs, but what would you say is the most important part of an NBA team today for like roster building, and maybe how it's changed since when you first got into coaching to what it is now? And you can go anywhere with this: bigs, perimeter defense, offensive creation, however you want to take it. What's the most important thing a team has to have to be really good?
I think now more so than ever, and you watch the Thunder, how they played, and the Pacers when they were healthy, and Celtics the same way. The ball movement. So you can't have ball stoppers. If you have somebody that needs to dribble the ball 800 times, at the end of the day, you're probably not gonna have high level of success. If you got ball movers, and I'd love a wing that can shoot and defend, 3-and-D type of guy. Having an elite guard doesn't ever hurt. I mean, you look at the Thunder, SGA. Say what you want about creating fouls and all that, and Halliburton, elite guards that they get people in positions. They get them when they need to catch the ball. When they won, minimal turnover type guys. So same with that's Kyrie. Now, whenever Kyrie comes back, having that ball handler, anybody that can create. So a creator or 3-or-D guy. I don't necessarily think you need a big to win. I mean, is Chet Holmgren a big, or is he float around the perimeter and get every once in a while get a lob or an offensive rebound?
Depends on if you go by height or weight. So
Chet's huge, but I wouldn't know if I consider him a. I mean, are they throwing Chet the ball on the block?
No,
he's on the perimeter most of the time, getting a switch, and then he gets into the elbow area and the free throw area, and I mean, he's really good. I mean, he needs a few more lbs for me, but I don't. Who's their other big for the
Hardenstein.
Thunder? Oh, I mean, he's a screener roller, but he does his job. Isaac, that might be the thing you need. You need people that aren't your elite guys that do their job. So I know what Isaiah Hartenstein's doing every night, and he does it incredibly well.
You might not want to put a name on it, but can you think of a guy that you're like, man, that guy would have had a much different career, maybe longevity of his career, if he accepted a role early on?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to put anybody, but there's a handful of people that, I mean.
Or maybe you could go the opposite direction if somebody accepted like a role early on that could have maybe explored like other stuff in their career or expanded role, but they accepted a role and it resulted in them staying in the league for a while.
Well, I'll tell you one who struggled was my guy Rajon Rondo. When he went to Boston, he was the setup guy, and they won that title. And then he all of a sudden in his brain was, I'm the guy, and I don't need to listen to coaches. And he didn't allow himself to do what got him to winning with Boston. Now they had an elite roster, but he coming to Dallas, he should have worked. But
what are you talking about? It did work out.
What's that?
It did work out. What are you talking about?
And I mean, there's lots of guys that, hey, I want to expand. I'm this guy here, but I should be expanding my game, my range, my things, and then you don't play anymore. So most people, like we said, let's go to Jalen. Jalen's elite right now. But early on, everybody's like, oh, man, all the things he wasn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, but he wins. He's a competitor. He's a pro. He's a guy that's going to be around forever. And then he finally gets his chance. Luka's out that one playoff series. And, he does his thing. Then he gets to New York. Regardless of the politics that got him there, he took it and ran with it. Did they run into stretches where he shot too much and he flopped around too much? Probably. But they were pretty damn good, and they competed during the regular season, and that's because of him. He's not changing. Dwight Powell, he's going on year 15?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because he's a pro. He's an absolute beast of a pro that any staff is like, can we get somebody that might be physically better or might have more talent? But Dwight's there every day, all day, doing exactly what the trainers want, strength coaches want. And when they need to play him, and he gets stuff done. You can never have too many pros because it falls on deaf ears when people are, I don't understand why he's not in the league. X person,
Yeah. When you look at coaching, it's so hard for somebody like myself to evaluate coaches. It's one of the hardest things I think it is for media, or it should be. But when you look at, you obviously worked with Rick Carlisle for a long time, and it's probably maybe a little bit more observing Jason Kidd over the last handful of years. What could you see? You could take this strategy-wise, one side of the ball, however you want to take it. What would you say is the biggest difference between a Carlisle and a Jason Kidd?
And this is strictly a Rick comment. Rick is a savant level management guy, almost too much. Like he can. I got a quick Rick story. When I was still doing all the video and stuff, he was trying to find something. He wanted to show the guys a play he wanted to add in because he thought that it would work well for this group. And we're sitting there, and he's got it drawn up, and he's thinking, and he's like, we need to search and find this. And I was like, well, I'll just go through the vault and I'll find it. And he's like, I think at Minnesota back in 10, this is before the championship year. He says, at Minnesota, I think it was a Wednesday night. It's on the left side away from us. We ran it for JJ, and so-and-so did a basket. And I'm like, whatever. So I go to the library, pull it up, and I'm searching. I'm like, the only thing he was wrong about was the end of the floor it was on. It was coming to us and not away from us. And I'd be like, here it is. And he's like, oh yeah, so-and-so made the shot in the left baseline. Yeah, yeah. Let's put that in. Let's put that in and we're going to do it tomorrow. So like, he's a savant on memory and making adjustments in timeouts and things. Like I just watching him over the time. And when they started to make their run, everybody's like, man, they're not good enough. I was like, boy, they score points. He knows how to get them to score points.
Yeah.
And get people in little tweaks here and there and making positions, And when they got the finals, I was like, pre Halliburton getting hurt, I was like, I wouldn't surprise me in the least they won that game 7.
Yeah.
But conversely, Jay Kidd's he was a savant as a player. The passes he makes and finding people and reading the temperature of the game and the ultimate competitor. One, like when I reffed when I was on those staffs, and then his level of competitiveness was I couldn't even, every day if we had a competitive drill, he was trying to figure out how to win the drill and how that meant manipulating or not the refereeing of the drill. And I mean, I'd leave there like I would like I need 15 minutes alone because I'm like emotionally drained off of trying to ref that scrimmage with he and Dirk and Tricks and Jet and those and Tyson, and I'm just like it just wore me down emotionally because I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot. But he coaches the game. Like you said, in his time with the Mavs, he's had so much turnover in players and, lineups, the type of players they have, injuries. Hell, I mean, they almost had a record on not having enough dudes to play games. And they still, he still found a way to get those groups to compete, until they were told not to compete, and then they just laid it down. But Jason, I think, brings a different. Rick played, but not the level Jason played. So Jason just, I think, has a more of a player mentality on how he approaches the game and how he tries to get people to see things and teach things. So Rick's more of a doctoral thesis on coaching, and Jason's more of a hands-on experience coaching. Can't really knock either of them. Like I said, if Rick would have figured out how to win with that team over the Thunder, I mean, that would have been an all-timer.
Yeah.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
You mentioned a little bit ago the turnover for J. Kidd. It's pretty wild. I was looking back, with 5 years ago, I go back to like the bubble, and it's like ownership, front office, coaching staff, assistant coaches. I mean, even this past offseason of Sham God and Dudley leaving, and some of those guys, players. And I feel like I'm probably missing people, but I feel like we're looking at like Dwight Powell and DK. It's like
I went out to Summer League for like 2 days. I went out with Cerebro, and I was talking to James Bercato, their analytic director. And he was messing with me. He's like, Shetty, who's left? I'm like, I'm trying to think. I said, DK, you. I said, on the team, it's only Dwight. I said, Christy's in the front office. She handles travel and things of that nature. I said, that might be it. And JT equipment.
Oh yeah,
that's my guy, and he's now the head, the boss guy. Shout out JT Elkin. But that's it. And when Dion left, I talked to him, and he's like, Chetty, it's not what we left it, And it's
How does that? Obviously, you've transitioned off staff. A handful of years ago during that brick off season. How is it? You still talk to people even now removed from it. Is it like bittersweet? Is it kind of sad seeing just all the change and how different things are with the organization?
A little bit, like you said. I became close with Sint when she was there, and how all of the things went down specifically this past season. It was tough. Like, it took me a year or two before I got we out of vernacular. It was always we when people were asking about the Mavs. Well, we need to do this. It's them. And like you said, I've been able to. I no longer messed up if the Mavs don't play well, if I miss a game, or it's funny. It's funny like that. Like, we go now and everybody's like, do you care if they win? I was like, I don't. For one, I other than at the time, pre-Luka, I was like, all right, I'm gonna know Luka, Maxey, Dwight, and then when Casey left, and then Jeremy and all those guys left, I was like, man, I don't really have a connection here anymore. So it was easier for me to just be like, hey, I go to a game, my boys enjoy it, and then we just go home.
Yeah.
So it's people around still ask me, and I'm like, I try to keep a finger as much as I can on what's going on. But you know,
Was the writing on the wall for? Was there any side of writing on the wall or things that you look back on in hindsight pre-Luka trade that makes the Luka trade make more sense to you?
I don't know if it'll ever really make sense to me. You know, and this is not a knock on anybody in my mind. I learned GMing from Donnie and Keith Grant and those guys, and how Mark did things early. If I ever was going to move Luka, if it came to our staff is like, you know what, we don't like that 345, we don't like whatever you think the words are. Me if I was GM, I can't engage one team and not just pillage the rest of the league. In my mind, I'm creating the biggest trade market in the history of sports.
Yeah.
For Luka. I'm like, okay, we got 13 teams involved, 46 players are moving, there's 7 all-stars moving, and the Mavs got this. Max Christie, awesome. AD, healthy, top 10 player. He didn't get enough in my book.
Yeah.
You know? So it's and then just the lack of awareness on his meaning to the fan base.
That was one of my questions for you. I was like, did it surprise you when the front office kind of admitted that they underestimated? You've seen this connection with the city. I mean, day in, day out of Luka and the city.
I was baffled, especially that you said the words. If you think it, I don't know if you ever said. It baffled me. Now, the way they've progressed and how things have worked out with Cooper and all the things, you know, more power to them. Maybe they can win enough when Kyrie gets back that it's all good. But I also understand people there's a huge contingent of people that are still, you know, shut off because of how all that went down. You know, I want Luka to be a beast that he is, but I hope for Dallas, having been here forever and seen the sports, Dallas wants to see people win, and they don't want to see you tank and not make the playoffs and do those things. The town's a better town when the teams are winning. Cowboys, Rangers, Wings,
Stars.
A new coach, some new players.
What would you say is this was probably based off conversation with people and stuff, because I don't think y'all overlapped a ton, but what would you say is the biggest difference between Donnie Nelson running things and Nico Harrison running things?
Oh, I would just, Donnie was so, what's the word I'm looking for? Donnie just had he had a lot of people that fed into his thinking, and he'd ask a lot of opinions. And then when he and Mark would pick what they were doing, they did a great job of keeping things in-house. Like, you didn't hear a lot of stories. Like, it was like, okay, today we're drafting Isaac Harris. It wasn't like, oh man, I knew that 3 weeks ago, because that was and I don't know, Donnie had a lot of European influence. Obviously Dirk and Luka, and he knew everybody and their mother. I mean, Donnie's phone contact list is probably off the charts. Nico was a younger, hipper. You know, he was being with Nike and Kobe and all those guys, and he had a little more intrigue to today's player, maybe, I guess. I don't know the difference. You know, Nico relied a little more on analytics, I guess, with Andrew, bringing Andrew from the Nets. Donnie kept it more family-oriented. If you were kind of with him, you kind of stayed with him forever. So, which I was a fan of that because I stayed around for a long time. So,
Okay, let's end here on a couple like quick hitters, and I'm gonna throw at you. Your favorite player to watch in today's game?
NBA player?
Yeah. You're sitting at home and you're like, man, you got the TV on. You're like, I gotta watch this game because I love watching this guy play.
And it can't be Luka?
Nope, can't be Luka.
Oh, can't be Luka.
Cheater.
Hold on. I'm a Halliburton fan.
Okay.
I'm a Halliburton fan. His shot's weird, but I like the way he plays. Sometimes talks a little too much, but I'm a Hally fan. So I would say that. I like watching the Thunder play as a group. I think they play really fun. Sometimes I don't like the SGA stuff, but I would say I'm a Halliburton fan. I can never really shut off a Curry game.
Yeah.
I threw you a bunch when Steph's playing. They're still fun to watch.
There's something about those peak Steph games when he's on it. It's just like it's some of the best.
It's still ridiculous. It's still.
I know. One of the funniest player you coached.
Sean Marion or Dirk.
Ooh. Okay.
Sean's hilarious, but Dirk. I was blessed to be around elite Dirk for all those years, from 06 to all the way through the end. He worked and was, but sometimes his little stories or little personal little tidbits just were hilarious. Sean Marion was funny. Sean was super funny. We were only with him for a while. DSJ, Dennis Smith, was a great personality of a young dude. He was awesome. Who else was funny? Vince Carter. Vince was a pro, but was able to be. Vince was awesome.
It's like that's my favorite player ever. Fun fact, real quick. My wife did a birthday video for me years ago. And she ended the birthday video. It was all these people like wish me happy birthday. She ended the video with Vince Carter saying, "Man, happy birthday," blah 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 blah. And she ripped it. It was like his like cameo like promo. And I freaked out. And I was like, there's few players that I freak out about nowadays. And it's like Vince has like just always been my favorite player. And I was like losing my mind. She's like, well, now I gotta tell you that it wasn't real. And I was so bummed, and we still joke about it to this day, and it was years ago. But
she faked you out.
She did. She didn't have to ever tell me. She should have just died with it.
Probably just died with it.
Oh, look at little two back there.
Jagger, say hi.
Hi.
What's up, Jagger? Okay, two more real quick.
Yes, sir.
Craziest work ethic player, and you can't say Dwight Powell.
Well, dang, that takes right off the bat. Jalen Brunson.
Okay. Dang.
Just everyday system routine.
Yeah.
Just was there every. And then who else? Well, I'd say Dwight, but no, Jalen, because night shooting coming back. I mean, and he didn't talk about it. Like it wasn't like, look how hard I work.
Yeah.
He just did it.
He just did it.
And that's what I try to explain to people. I said Jalen's another level of pro.
Player you wish you could coach for 20 years.
We talking Mav player?
Player? Well, no, it can be anybody.
You know what? I had a Tyson Chandler. And the reason behind it, Tyson, for what he was coming in, elite high school, straight to the league, all the things. When we won in 11, Tyson knew the questions to ask that people were afraid to ask, like the players that didn't know what was going on. He would ask them because he was a vet. And he would be like, hey, coach, I don't understand why we're doing this coverage or doing this. Knowing that if the rookie asked it, the staff would lose their mind. You're not paying attention. You're not doing this. But if Tyson asked it, the whole staff's going to be like, well, here's what, make sure we lock in. Here's why we're doing this. He would ask the hard question and look like he didn't know. That helped half the team. Like that level of sacrifice, like I'm going to put myself out there a little bit because I know these young fellas aren't going to ask, but it's going to hurt us in the long run if they don't know. So I'll ask it.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
that made, and they said, I'll ride or die with Ty Chandler forever. As my kids call him, our guy Ty. I'm talking old school players, but, Luka was awesome. Luka was fun just because of his competitiveness and all the things. So, but yeah, Tyson Chandler. I've coached him for 20 years.
How many years of eligibility is Braden Smith going to get? 10?
No, he's done this year. Just one more.
I feel like he's been playing college basketball since I was like 8.
It just seems like it. That beard makes it look like it.
It's like him
after we
and
win this
Perry
natty
Ellis.
this year, then he'll be done.
Who's you got a European coming over, right?
Yeah, the kid from Israel, the Israel team.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Yes. Major? Something. Okay. Anytime I see Purdue stuff, I think of you. So
yeah, well, my younger brother, we're not young anymore, but we're pretty excited. I'm a huge Matt Painter guy, and I couldn't be more jacked about the potential year.
Yeah. Well, all right. Appreciate you as always.
You got it. Glad
Enjoy
to be
it.
on here. Thanks for the invite.